Hi, everyone. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. It's October 10th, Tuesday. And as always, we're here for our weekly session, taking your general educational based questions on U.S. immigration law, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We get a lot of different kind of questions here. Always happy to help and do our best to just give general guidance what's going on. If you haven't already, check out our YouTube channel, JQK Law or Immigration Chat. What do we call it? U.S. Immigration Talk. That's what you can search on YouTube. But put my name in, website in, or law firm name in, you'll find it. Also, if you're interested in learning about marriage-based immigration, the best thing to do is to download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, John's Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. 40 plus pages breaking down the process. We're going to really help you out to know what's going on before you even talk with the lawyer. So as they're trickling in on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, shoot out your questions. We'll do our best to kind of get into it. I recently noticed a lot of these channels are kind of throttling. Usually we have like 100 people watching at once. Recently, it's kind of slowed down. I'm not sure the social media giants are doing something different, but it is what it is. We always get some good questions though. So as you're tuning in, if you're new, we're taking your immigration questions live and talking about what's going on in the immigration system. Dev says you are great. Thank you so much, Dev, for coming on. I appreciate the kind words. Saki asks, Hi, sir. Marriage-based green card case. My case is still pending almost 1 year. No reply, nothing. That's completely normal. Things sometimes take over a year, so that's nothing out of the norm, nothing out of the usual. Lega says, how long does it take to get the I-284 process approved? Unfortunately, it's not too good. It's anywhere from 3 months to 2 years on average. We just got one approved after 2 years. But let me talk about this one. So an I-284 is two scenarios, and a lot of people have to deal with this, unfortunately. The main one I guess I'll talk about is, let's say you are married and your spouse lives overseas. So you start by filing Form I-130, petition for alien relative, to ask the government, say, hey, listen, I'm in a real relationship. Please give permission for my spouse to apply for a green card. And so we filed that I-130, and there's a question on there that says, is your spouse going to apply for their green card in the United States or outside? And a lot of times people either leave those blank or mistakenly answer that they're going to do it inside the U.S. And what happens is the immigration part in the U.S. keeps the case and doesn't let it move. So that becomes a big problem because you have to submit this form I-284 to transfer the case from the U.S. to the embassy consulate abroad. And the problem with this form is it takes anywhere from 3 months to 2 years on average to do it. So it's a huge mess. You really don't want that to happen in your case. We had a case that just took 2 years and finally got the approval notice. However, it was a special circumstance case, a lot of pro bono work. We spend months and months and months requesting expedites and contacting Congress with all this kind of stuff. So somehow or another, even without the I-284 being approved, about 9 months earlier, the case went to the embassy, was approved. With all of a sudden, the embassy just got the case. And we didn't know how that happened. So long story short is I-284 even while it's pending, you could mess with them sometimes and get it moving forward. But it's just a mess. So it's unknown time. Sometimes we say, hey, file a new I-130. You might do both to see which one's faster. Hashmi asked about a VAWA case. I don't handle the VAWA cases in my firm. Another associate does that. So I don't answer questions about the case I don't handle myself. Check out my case. I-751 was updated and corresponding was received it and reviewing it. I filed jointly, but I sent a packet with waiver case. Can you please tell me? Listen, Shekar, like, you're saying you filed jointly, it was received, but you factored the waiver. This isn't something we could talk about here. So you got to schedule a consultation. So I just begin to figure out what's going on with your case. But thanks for coming on. Real says, in these days, how quickly can an I-485 approve if I-130 is approved since 2020? Well, it depends. Is this an LPR-based marriage I-130? Is this an I-130 based on brother or sister case? There's not enough information, and really depends on how long it takes in your case. It's always different. And we got another question about I-284 processing times. We had a pretty much couple-minute discussion about this, but 3 months to 2 years on average. Jordan, one of our regulars, says, hey, John, it's been a minute. I heard that if I come on a visitor visa, I can apply for work visa after some weeks. Is that true? So if you're coming in on a visitor visa, they don't want you to apply for change of status, adjustment of status, because you came on a visitor visa and you're coming to visit. So if you do something differently, it could look like you're doing misrepresentation or fraud. So just something to be mindful of. Now, sometimes people come in and like 3-4 months later decide to go to school or find a job to apply for them. Then you can change the status, normally okay. But you got to be careful. You don't want to get accused of fraud for misusing a tourist visa. Ganesh asks, is it safe to travel on advanced parole while waiting for a green card? I can't answer if something is safe or not. Is it safe to get in a car and go to work? Generally, yeah, but people get into accidents. So as a lawyer, I can't say, especially because I don't know anything about your case and your background. There's no way I could give you that kind of certainty and say yes. Bill also says, how long after taking for a waiver I-601A? Unfortunately, those are taking a couple of years for 601 or 601A waivers. Joseph says, hey, Sir John, I've been petitioning my son last 2016 over single how many years to approve. The timing is kind of weird because the line hasn't moved in like years. So go to the US Visa Bulletin and see where they're processing right now and check every month. But unfortunately, there's been no movement for a long time. So line is stuck. So I can't really say when it's going to happen. Sagias, hi, sir. We are answer that. How long? Answer that one too. Sailor says second prima facie for 180. I'm not sure what that means. Are the processing times on the USCIS site, USCI site accurate? No, absolutely not. So if you're, a lot of people want to know how long things are taking. In USCIS.gov, the website for the government, has these timelines, but I would say they're almost completely inaccurate. So it's not even worth checking out. Nod says, how can I remove my asylum case from the court and submit it to USCIS? If you're already in court, you got to do it there. You're already on defensive asylum. Jenny says, my parents' immigration case was sent to the state. How long it takes time? I don't know. It takes very amount of time. So check our updates about it. Check out that this is, I don't have anything to tell you here. You got to schedule a consultation about I-751 that turns to waiver. It's just too complex a situation to discuss here. Adam says, N336 denial for N400. Now, what's my chances in federal court? I don't know why you were denied. It's like saying I'm sick. What are my chances of getting better? Well, do you have like pancreatic cancer or do you have cold? So there's not enough information there. Ahmad says, I'm a asylum seeker and married to a U.S. citizen. What happens next? It depends on what you want to apply for and your background. I don't know. You should schedule a consultation. We're talking private because I need to know a lot more about your entry, about your birth certificate, your marriage history, the criminal history, a lot of different things. So the next is you got to talk with a professional. Jay says, how long is work period taking now? For adjustment of status cases, 3 to 9 months on average. The officer says, what is your opinion about the visa bulletin backlog? My opinion is sucks, but my opinion isn't worth much. So I don't like to share opinions when there's, if I had a legal opinion about what the law is, I'll give it to you. But opinion about something like that, it just sucks. There's not much more I can tell you. Shiva says, what are good evidence for a marriage-based adjustment case? Thanks. Well, if you download my guide, Marriage Immigration, at marriageimmigrationlaw.com, you could see what list I have. But essentially, they're looking for joint residential information, joint taxation if you have, joint financial documents, and other evidence that you're living together. And that could be like a driver's license is showing the same address if you're both in the United States. It could be, bank accounts together or sending money to each other sometimes. Could be lease agreements together and different things like that. Just your life in paper. John says, my asylum case was denied at the asylum office. I was on a visa at the time. Then I got a green card with employment. I also traveled to home country, came back. Now it's safe to apply for 100. John, I can't tell you something's safe or not. If you're not my client, we haven't had a discussion about this. This isn't a forum. This isn't a forum for me giving legal guidance like that. And I'm not sure how you got your green card through employment if you had an asylum case pending. They usually deny those cases. So that's something you really need to schedule a consultation to talk about, John. Because it could be that they mistakenly approved your green card and they won't notice. But when you file for citizenship, they notice it and they take away your green card. So you got to be very careful and definitely talk to a lawyer who knows what they're doing. In any case, I hope you are well. My husband has his I-130 approved, but it's been a while waiting to hear about I-485. Sometimes it takes longer. I don't know the case. I can't really say. Hi, I'm from Germany. I got approved for I-140. How long should I wait for the interview in Frankfurt? Well, that depends on where you are in the visa bulletin based on where you're born and stuff and what kind of case you have. So I-140 could be an EB1, EB2, EB3. So I don't know. More information is needed. And Preet says, I'm applying spousal base. I have a green card, California center. How much time can I apply for tourist visa? Your question is really well put. You could always apply for tourist visa. It's up to the government to approve it. And I don't know how long your case is going to take. These cases take very amount of time. Bertha says, I'm from Canada. I live in Florida on E2 visa. Can I go back to Canada? If you want to, I don't know what's stopping you. Okay, I don't know. Your question is not clear why you would ask that. Z123 says, hello, my brother already received his approval. He's waiting for the interview. There's no embassy in Afghanistan. Yeah, you probably go to Pakistan or wherever else you can go, preferably not Pakistan because it's backed up. The Apostle Police says, is there any hope now for me and my husband? He's Kurdish in Iran. Receipt, March 2021 interview. You can file a lawsuit against the government for delaying, try to get that embassy part complete. I'm guessing that's maybe the thing to do. Allah says, hello, today the embassy sent me and they need the W-2 one more time, which I was sending to them. Send them what they're asking for to get a document so they qualify. The asylees need green cards to bring new wed spouse. Yeah, either they were married with you when the asylum was approved and you do the form I-730 to bring your spouse. But if you already have your asylum approved and then you're going to apply for your spouse, you need a green card. The disaster is once you get a green card and you file, today is like a 6-year backlog. So it's going to be a long time before you live together. Hope the timelines could change, could go down to 1 year. So buddy, I'm back on YouTube and LinkedIn and stuff. Sorry, the internet is just terrible. Okay, so she's in India. It's probably going to take 2-3 years. Can a resigned soldier get a K-1 visa? I don't know. I don't know what you mean. A resigned soldier, what country is from? There's a lot that goes on there, so I got no more information. Snap says, hi, I'm a U.S. citizen. I applied for my husband. Can I stay outside the U.S.? There's a requirement to stay in the U.S. No, you don't have to stay in the U.S. It's only near the end of the process when you're dealing with the National Visa Center and eventually the embassy, where what's called the domicile requirement starts to kick in. But while the I-130 is pending, you don't. But eventually there's an affidavit of support portion to the marriage green card case where you got to show you make enough money. So if you're living outside, might not be making enough money. Then you come back, you might have to find a job and stuff like that. But you could always have a joint sponsor that could help you. Sudeep says, hello, I got a PhD from Houston. Is there any way I can get my green card? Sukdeep, email us your resume, CV for initial quick review, info@jklaw.com, and see if something good is out there. How long after getting married do you start doing your paperwork? Our firm, we usually start the paperwork before the people get married. So if there's problems, we catch it early. But there's no wait time. You need to just, best to download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, 6 MOI, and then talk with schedule consultation with our office and get into it. Burr says, as a lawyer, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Well, as a lawyer, not at all. But on a personal level, it's once a week, I guess. Minome says, how long do refugee travel documents usually take? Anywhere from 3 months to 2 years. It's all over the place. How long will it take to get a marriage green card in Virginia? I don't keep track of local times, and I can't tell you. King says, I came to U.S. on refugee status. Can I go back to Pakistan or sponsor someone? Well, you need to get status to sponsor someone. Some immigrations like a green card, unless you're already married or had kids beforehand. But can you go back to Pakistan? You shouldn't be going back to a country you claim this refugee from, but people get away with it all the time, but I can't recommend it. So Ryan Gas says I-130 sibling visa exclusively based on the visa bulletin date, or is USA contact process? No, it's based on, you have to start the I-130 process, but it's all based on visa bulletin. Arlen said, is there a chance for a green card if you have 204C? Probably not. 204C, I think, is immigration fraud, like marriage fraud or something like that. I'm supposed to put I just remember I'm supposed to put the washing machine clothes in the washing machine to the dryer, and I forgot. But 204C is when they accuse you of marriage petition. So yeah, it's marriage fraud, right? So I was double checking. So no, once you do accuse of marriage fraud and they say that's it, you essentially can never get any status ever again. It's pretty harsh. I can't say never. I don't know the rules because I don't usually deal with that issue. But it's really bad. So you got to try to reopen it, fix it somehow. Real Shot Up says, how long after I-485 can you request for work authorization? You should request work authorization with the I-485 filing. You submitting for I-765 by filing it late, just delay things for no reason. And that's one of the reasons people hire immigration lawyers. So sometimes people do their cases just fine. But in this case, Real Shabi filed and didn't know, I might be mistaken, please correct me if I am, but to file the I-765, the work permit request with the green card application, they've unnecessarily delayed things. How much is that worth? Well, they could have got a job 1 month sooner, potentially made all the money that they paid the lawyer, but they would have avoided that mistake in the first place. And they would have probably submitted the case faster because they had help. So when you're considering hiring somebody, there's all these little things that you may not think about or mistakes that you may make that make the whole thing worthwhile to hire an attorney with the process. Liliana says, hey, John, are the waiting times mentioned USCIS.com accurate? No, they're not. I've mentioned that for someone else already. 13 and a half months for I-130 spouse of a U.S. citizen. Pretty accurate right now, unfortunately, but most of the time I say don't rely on them. Meme says 12 months wait for my parents' I-130 to be approved in Brazil. How much longer? Probably 2 to 4 months. Mo says, how long green card case if more than 1 year grants? I don't know. It's just asylum. If you're filing for a green card based on asylum, those are like really heavy backed up. It's for adjustment of status. I don't know what we're talking about there. I have a pending green card application. I keep getting denied a tourist visa. Is that normal? Yes. Does applying for a diversity visa impact other visa applications? Not historically. How long is it taking a sibling case to be approved at NBC? The NBC portion, it's all the same for everybody, but you're really thinking about how long is probably the visa bulletin current, and you got to check the visa or when's the case we go to interview and stuff. That depends on the embassy and where the case is at the visa bulletin, but the national visa setup portion is the same. There's no difference what kind of case it is. Philip says, I'm retired, have disability, tax exempt income that is not reported on 1040. USCIS missed it. Yeah, they're not going to understand that. I have this problem a lot with USCIS when people have disability income. That is income. You could use it, and it's, I think, in the instructions for USCIS and the Code of Federal Regulations, it's listed that you could use that, unfortunately, Philip. But I've had the same problem where we try to explain this to the government. I recently did one with the embassy in a certain country. They accepted it. But twice this in 2023 this year, we submitted that, and they pushed back on it, and we could have fought them on it. But we just got joint sponsors because if they denied it and have to appeal it, that means the case would take forever to get done. So luckily we had joint sponsors, but that's an unfortunate situation. That we deal with the government. They don't always follow the rules. You can send them the rules. Cece says, can my employer petition my green card if I overstay my visa? They can start the process, but you might be subject to like a ban, like a 10-year ban if you want to finish off the case. So talk to a lawyer in private. Can a Pakistani resigned soldier get a K-1 visa? I mean, people are either resigned or not. They get visas. It depends on what you're doing. If they accuse you of terrorism or something like that, I don't know. But typically, if it's normal, like if you're from Iran and you're part of the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, no. But from Pakistan, I don't think there's anyone banned from Pakistan. But I need to research the case. I don't know. That's why we got to spend time talking with you. Polly says, how about interview for spouse green card right now? Are they getting more often waived or not? If in the United States, yes, they're mostly getting waived. Alma says, what does it mean when they have action completed, approved for filing on your status adjustment? It's complete, approved for filing. They have action completed. They usually do that if you're going to file a form IA-24, that we get that action approved for filing your status adjustment. That's when you have like family members overseas that are going to go through the process too, and you got to get that. That's what I usually see that statement written. Jerome says, I've received my work permit a month now, and I still have received my social. Is that normal? Yeah, go contact Social Security office. They're not consistent in contacting you about that. How long is the I-290B to get approved? 6 months, 9 months average. Dub says, any luck on the renewal of the Biden program for my cousin? She'll need to she needs to go back. I'm not sure which program you're talking about, but I don't know. Car says my I-360 is approved, but it's not helping me to change my status. Really work any alternative? I can't advise that I know more information about you. Imran says we both living abroad from 2018 and don't have work in the US. How can I sponsor my husband? We can start the process with I-130, but eventually you have to live here and get a joint sponsor and make enough income yourself. Any side effects to my spouse case if I apply for a tourist visa? As long as you're honest in the application and you don't lie, you're perfectly correct. No, it's probably okay. The problem is people make up stories and that becomes problematic. Oops, I just noticed the YouTube comment. Sorry, I'm gonna go back. Arlene Dunn Alon says, if my wife, she hasn't working last year and now she started working last month, can she sponsor me for I-64? So this is an important question. When you're doing a family-based case, well, part of it is you have to submit an affidavit of support to show and make enough income. And different lawyers have different perspective on this. I'm pretty much the most liberal you can get with it. Most lawyers want you to show that you have 3 years of a continuous income that meets the minimum income requirements for a family-based green card before they'll use you as an affidavit of support sponsor. When I started working, I had a lot of people. I'm close to UCLA, my office, so a lot of students who just graduated from school and got their first job. So what I would do is, they have no income, but get the first month's pay stub and send it to the government, and then it would work. And I've always done that. Then I learned later on in my career, because I have a group for immigration lawyers. We do training and stuff, and I talk with other colleagues who do this stuff. And most lawyers are hesitant. They say at least, like most of them say 3 years. Some say we need 1 year income before you use it. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just use 1 month income. So I've done it. And I would be hesitant because I've seen so many people scared of it that I've gotten hesitant, even though I've always had it okay. Like if you're gonna submit an affidavit of support when you're just using current money, it's just new income. Is this a marriage to a U.S. citizen case or a marriage to a green card holder case? Because if they, for whatever reason, deny it, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, you can turn around and reapply. But if you're married to a green card holder, that becomes a problem because the spouse will be out of status. So it depends on how much risk you want to take on. So if it's a marriage citizen case, give it a shot. You can refile. You have to pay new filing fee. That's annoying. But if it's a green card holder case, it's really risky. Probably better to get a joint sponsor. And then, it depends on what state you are, because different offices for immigration, this is really important matter people don't know, is each office handles things like 10%, 50, 20% differently. So an office in Florida will handle things differently than an office in Los Angeles. And you got to be aware of this and what social mores they follow or don't when it comes to this stuff. So for example, I have a case actually in Florida where we're going to do this, but it's married to a U.S. citizen and the foreign national has work permits. So I'm more likely to do it, but I'd be more hesitant to do it in Florida than I would in California. So this is where, again, the practice differences in experience and really being into immigration, a lot of practice immigration, because there's a lot of little nuances you got to be mindful of when doing this kind of work. Leila says, you're the best. Thank you. I wish to live in California. What are steps for you to win the visa lottery? Well, thank you. We handle cases from across the world. So our location, California, doesn't matter. Everything we do is by online and mail and stuff like that. For the lottery, the government has a website. It's an official website. There's no fee for it. Just type in green card lottery. Go there. It'll give you information what you need to do next. But thank you, Layla. Farrell says, any hope for SIJ applicants 2024? I don't do SIJs myself, so I can't really comment on that. These are special immigrant juvenile cases. Christine says, hi, I'm married to a U.S. citizen, waiting for a petition interview date, and my 2 adult daughters 2020 will be applying for a student visa. Their visa application last May got denied due to pending petition that we thought we applied. We missed to do separate I-130. You missed their petitions. Sorry about that. It's 50-50. So here's the case. U.S. citizen marries woman going through her green card case. Woman has 2 children, 20, 21. They want to file for student visas. In the student visa application, it asks if you have family in the United States. Once they see they have a mother here, it becomes 50-50 whether they're going to approve it, because they can be afraid that children are going to come to the United States and not leave. Kind of depends on what country you're from. There's different biases on that. But all you can do is give it a shot and see what happens. This is another reason to get immigration straight. Now, if you already had children and you married your spouse following a U.S. citizen, your children had to be under the age of 18 when you got married. So if they're already over the age of 18, they couldn't be part of the application. You should have done a fiance visa. Fiance visa, again, this is crazy. That's if you get married and you want to bring your stepchildren in, the marriage has to happen before they're 18. But for a fiance visa, you could get engaged, do the fiance visa. The children have to enter the United States before the age of 21. So again, this is why I need an immigration attorney because, and not everyone knows this one of it, but you should have done a fiance visa. Kids would have come in as K2s. They would have been green card holders. Bada bing, bada boom, done. But that just happens. Juan says, what if I'm banned for 2 years by ESTA? I don't know. I have to see what's going on, why that happened, what you got to do. S says, receive green card. Do I need to stay in the U.S. 6 months in a day consecutively? You just, once you have a green card, you have to live most of your life in the United States and not be outside for 6 months generally. But I have videos on this long discussion. That's that. Juan says, I want to visit Hollywood. Well, you got to apply for a waiver, man, if you got a ban. Paulie says, while waiting for the lawyer to submit my papers, am I considered illegal in the country since my previous visa expired? There's something I should do about it. What about my lawyer submitted? Well, Paulie, if you're married to, sorry about that, hit the cup. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, it doesn't really matter. They forgive it. Matt says, would EB4 restoration become current at some point? I don't know. Maybe. Juan Campos, my friend. Hey, John, does H-1B holder who gets EAD based on TPS violate his H-1B status? Not by getting the EAD. And there's different thoughts on this. I can't find it. There's no official wording I can find because this issue of getting EAD happens in the context of someone who's got an F1 student visa, OPT EAD, and then they get married and get EAD through marriage. Now, who is it? Not OPT. What are they doing? They're just on an F1 and they get married and get a work permit. If they start working based on their marriage-based EAD, do they violate the F1? I'm conservative on this, and I say yes. Don't use the other. So if your H-1B continue H-1B job, don't use the EAD because it could potentially invalidate the H-1B status. But depending on the person's context, it's different things could apply with whichever one's best. But thanks for your question. Good to hear from you, Juan Campos. We got to catch up. Okay. Let's see. What's next when you send off your I-485 awaiting the USA? Well, it depends on if you submitted your work permit, advanced parole child document, your medical checkup, all that kind of stuff. Maybe do fingerprinting. Pakwasi says, is it misrepresentation to the USCIS if I made a mistake on my citizenship to go to bank account? It shouldn't, but if they think it is mistakenly, then you're screwed. So you never want to do that. Why is it taking forever to do I-618 fingerprints? I don't know if 618 has fingerprints. It just takes forever to do the case. Chacha says, okay, I answered that. Will RFE affect my ED process? I don't know. Some lawyers say yes, some lawyers say no. I got my EAD card. How long for my child document? 9 months. Ben says, I submitted RFE 1 day after deadline. What do you think? Most likely, unfortunately, a case will be denied, but some officers may be nice about it and not deny it. But most probably would. Ram says, I have DACA in Illinois. What are the qualifications to apply for permission to visit Mexico? I think you're trying to talk about advanced parole. Submit form I-131 with the reason for your need to travel, and that's what you do. Fiance visa, how long? To get the visa, probably 2 years. Can a withdrawal be retracted? No. Will applying for a diversity visa affect on potential future employment base? No. Came here on an F1 visa, applied for asylum, and finally married U.S. citizen. What happens next? We already answered that one. You got to probably file for the case, but need to talk with you in private. So I'm going to take 2 or 3 more cases and call it a day. We'll be back in next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Difference between a fiance visa and marriage visa. Donnie, this is the perfect question. I want to stop right there. I just released a video on YouTube, 13-minute video, breaking down the differences between the fiance visa and a marriage green card. It's really important because I go through 10 specific factors to help you judge what it is. I spent some time on this, so I'm excited you asked this, Donnie. So, as you know, leave this video. I'm about to end it right now. Go to YouTube, Immigration, U.S. Immigration Talk, or JKK Law Search. It's the newest video comparing the marriage green card versus the fiance visa. Also, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide that goes through it. But that video should really help you decide which one's the way to go. Actually, I just thought about this. One of the questions people had about fiance visa K2s, that makes a factor. Should have added that there. But hey, it is what it is. So check out that video. It helps out a lot. Paulie says, would I be able to use my biometrics to enter the country a couple years ago, or I need a new set? You probably need a new set, but they'll let you know. And Janelle says, how do you respond to a notice and deny notice that's asking for additional evidence? Married U.S. how do I respond? You answer what's in there. I haven't read the notice, so I don't know what they want. So you answer what they did, but really better you get a lawyer and talk with them. Juan says, never mind, I'll go to Korea, Japan. I said, thanks for us. You're welcome, Juan. I told you what you got to do. You got to request a waiver, apply for B2, and then once you're denied, if they want to approve it, request a waiver. But it's a lot of work. I'm not sure it's worth it. And let's answer one last question. Kate says, we've been waiting for I-130 for my husband from the UK for 11 months. Anything we could do? And probably not unless you got some provable emergency. Wait another 2 or 3 months, Kate, and then you start consular processing. We actually have a London case that I-130 was approved, and we submitted the National Visa Center paperwork. Once it was submitted, we got the interview 2 months later. So, I mean, like a month ago, we just submitted all the documents to the National Visa Center, and we got appointments for a month from now. So 2 months. So it's pretty fast for London, at least for this one case. And then let's see. Let's ask one more question. Question is pretty good today, so I'm having a good time. My wife told me not to say this, but sometimes the questions are not too good and I get frustrated with it. Really good questions. Let's see. How long is let's see. Difference between okay, let's take some random question. Lawrence, how soon after become U.S. citizen can I petition my husband? Immediately. Download my guide, marriageandimmigrationlaw.com. And Lunchbox says, hi, sir. I overstayed for 3 years in U.S. before I got a hold of a different passport, but now can't PP. Can I go USA now? I don't know what you're talking about, Lunchbox. You got to schedule a private consultation. I don't know what's going on there. Why expedite advanced pro is taking more than 7 business days? Well, expedite could take like 30 days to 30 to 60 days. Emergency almost faster. Just general, they're a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. That's it. But with that high note, thank you for joining. Arlene says, can I do a waiver 204C? There's no waiver for it. You got to just make sure you kind of undo it kind of thing. But thank you, everyone. God bless you. Be safe. I'll be back next Wednesday or next Tuesday. We used to have the show on Wednesday. Now it's Tuesday. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Go to YouTube. Check out our marriage versus fiance visa video. And it just gave me an idea of a new video to do. So that's there. So thank you, God bless. Be safe. And I'll talk to you all soon.